Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's House Joppa Afternoon Drive. Hope you're all doing well out there. 1 week until Thanksgiving. I repeat, 1 week until Thanksgiving. If your travel plans and turkey plans aren't in order, well, I don't know, you might be too late already. No, just kidding. Get on it. Here we go. I can't believe it's here. Mayor Sean Reardon, the newly re-elected Mayor Sean Reardon. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, Drew. It's great to be here.
Yeah, tough election season. You feel that must have felt great, huh? Is there a better feeling than getting that re-support?
Yeah, no, it feels pretty good. This was a really tough election season, too, so I think anytime you get a good result, it feels good, because plus we put a lot of work into it, too. So,
yeah.
And it's not just about you, too. It's such a village mentality. There was so many people who either wrote letters or donated or, stood out in the cold and held signs. And I know my parents were out here in front of the senior center for the whole week of early voting. They're both 75 and 74 respectively. So just to have all that come together and then, like I said, to get a good result, it feels good.
Yeah, I saw them out there. You got good genes. They look great.
They look great. Yeah, no, I really appreciative. I came from two of the best. So
there you go. I saw your celebration when you came down the staircase. I don't know. Where was that?
Port Tavern.
Port Tavern. Yeah. Okay, so you came down the Port Tavern staircase, and you gave a big yell. It was a great celebration. First of all, when do you know that you've got it?
It's funny. 4 years ago, it was much different. 4 years ago, I got kind of killed in the primary, right? So I was lucky to be the one of the final two to make it to the general election. But at the time, I had lost the primary by it was 800 something votes, close to 900 votes. So what I was able to do, or what we were able to do that year, is pretty unheard of. Everywhere I go, people who follow elections usually brings it up, because to go from 900 down in a primary, not being an incumbent or really not even being a city councilor, and be able to come back and win a really close election. We won by 27 votes.
How did that happen?
It was pretty amazing.
Is that a lot of street work? What is that?
So it's funny, that night, that night of that primary, I remember sitting around with my immediate family. It was my parents and my in-laws, and we were all sitting around. And then I had a couple people from my team come over and just said, "Hey, look, I know we're down because we really took it, but we knew, I think at the end of the day, we knew if I was going to win, again, being a younger candidate and being someone who had a lot of connections with, I would say, probably families with school-aged kids in town, that my ceiling for votes was a lot higher. And that was just kind of the mentality we had, is the people that we have, kind of like our age, that 30 to 55 range, those people don't always go out and vote, even though we would love for them to, but it doesn't always happen. So we knew we had, so many weeks left with, at the time, must have been 6 or 7 weeks left, and that we were going to have to do everything possible to get those people out to vote. And so that year, everything that we did worked. So I said, and again, 27 votes is, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you start thinking about how we do elections here, and it was actually significant, but again, it was only 27 votes. So everyone that came and made the point to get out and vote that day mattered. So this time around, so I started that story because when I came into the Port Tavern that night, I had held signs right up until polls closed at 8 o'clock, and I walked in the tavern and it was packed with just a lot of supporters, and I just kind of walked in there thinking, hey, look, we did everything we possibly could do. So either way, I was going to walk away from this experience feeling okay. And then so then I walk up the stairs, and by that time we already knew that I was up by 100 votes with one more ward to come in. They were having some trouble getting the Ward 3 ballots. So I was like, so either way, I'm not going to get killed by that much. So I knew it was going to be close. Either I was going to, lose a close race, or maybe I had a shot if I did okay in Ward 3. And then again, we found out that we did. Wow. This time around was different. So same thing. We were out till pretty much 8 o'clock walked into the tavern. Again, great crowd. I just was so overwhelmed walking in and seeing that place packed. But when we went upstairs and started getting the results, the new clerk did it a little differently this year. So we knew we had about 1,700 plus. It was actually 1,763 early votes that came in.
Yep.
So you can actually be here. So wards 5 and 6 are right here at the senior center. You can be here when the polls close, and they'll spit out a ticket that says exactly what the tally was.
Okay.
So that happens at each of them. So we had a person at each of the polling places. So we had an idea, but how they did it differently this year is that we knew those numbers, but then they were going to then go count those 1,763 votes from early voting.
Yes. Okay.
That must have been added the first time around. So this was a little different. So we got those pretty quickly, and then it was waiting around for oh my goodness. And that was a significant amount of votes, 1,700, so And then finally, they released some of those numbers, and I believe I was up like 300 something, I think, and there was about 100 left to count. So then we felt
Feeling
like
good. Yeah.
Which was funny because I was getting calls at that point from all over the state, and I had like my political consultant call me and it's like, "Hey, we just got a call from the governor. Can we tell her that you're all set?" I go, "No,
Definitely not.
There's still votes to count here. I mean, I know you guys feel good about it, but I'm not going to feel good about it until you know for sure." Because of course I'm thinking, early voters, if you're really disgruntled, and again, the campaign I was running against was more of a people thinking I've done a terrible job these last 4 years, right? So they, those might be more willing to vote early than others. So
you can talk yourself into any narrative, right?
So yeah. So at that point I wanted to wait, but then it was nice because at that time it was my wife and I upstairs, and then
What are you doing? Having dinner?
Well, no. So we were at the tavern, and then so it's funny. 4 years ago, my wife, we just found out so quickly. I ran down the stairs and screamed, and my wife was like out the front, and she missed all that, and like she hasn't let me forgot it. So I want to make sure this year. So when I got to the tavern this year, I was like, "Hey, come upstairs with me. We'll find out together." And so we found out upstairs, and it was a couple of close friends, and then my wife, and then we had a big hug, and just. Took a deep breath and then went down the stairs. And I tried to fake him out a little bit. I put my head down as I walked down the stairs, and then I stopped and said we did it, and just awesome. And my kids are a little older this time around too, so I mean, I don't know. It's so meaningful to look out and see all the people you care about and all the people that really put as much effort into it as you did and wanted to be a part of it and really believed in you. Again, it's one of those jobs that it's just funny this time around. I had nothing to lose last time. I had a pretty good job. This was something I always wanted to do, but if I lost, I would have just gone back to the job I was already doing. This time around, you're literally fighting for your job, and that prospect of not having a place to go to work in January becomes really real pretty quick, So it's a big relief. I actually think it's a big relief for the city. I can tell you, even just the mood in City Hall it was like this big relief on Wednesday after the vote. You could feel it. It was like a big exhale for everybody because an election year, it's not just about the mayor. It's about everyone who works for the city and knowing who you're going to report to and knowing that you've got a city council who has to approve your budgets and your positions and your salary, and just that all just intensifies during an election year. And I think we've seen that the last 11 plus months here. So that it was really just amazing to walk into City Hall on that Wednesday and just you could feel like the tension has just released. And I think everyone was just excited to just get back to work and do the job and continue to do a great job for the city.
Yeah, I mean, I do, and that must resonate. It resonates with me. Just the idea of your kids being older now, they can really feel it with you and experience it with you, and it must be like one of the most rewarding things of just that feeling of having a room full of people who put all their efforts behind you.
Sure,
and your ideas. It's all
Yeah, no, it's wild. We had over 40 people write letters to the paper. Just in support of the campaign, which is pretty awesome.
What is that like when that's going on? I saw a lot of that stuff going back and forth, and this is why you should not vote for the mayor. This is why I'm better. This is I think you even had to go in and say a couple things a couple times that was not true or that was misrepresented. It's kind of a weird back and forth. It was a weird political campaign on both sides, right? I mean, it's a weird cycle, I guess.
Sure, yeah. No, I don't think it compared to 4 years ago at all, and it kind of mirrored what we're kind of seeing now. I think and that's probably the political climate that's driving a little bit of that, but I felt like there was so much time that needed to be devoted to misinformation and false narratives out there a lot of my time was just making sure that the right information was going out there, right? Which I think is my job anyways.
If you're going to not vote for me, just don't vote for me for the right reasons.
For the right reasons, right? Don't listen to someone who you heard at a meet and greet with 12 people around that it's not technically on the record. You can say whatever you want in those things, right?
Here's what I did, and you stand by it.
You stand by it. And so and I definitely had a record to run on this time, and which I was proud of. So again, if you want to make sure they get it right, if you're going to get it right. But I think Newburyport's in a great spot right now. We've done a lot of great things the last 4 years, but I think the next 4 years are going to be really challenging too. So when it's going to be challenging, then I think that kind of heightens the awareness of everybody in town. And we're all kind of dealing with affordability issues. So how does that transpire here in Newburyport the next 4 years?
Yeah, you've made it resonated with me also when you said this is it's not only not having a job tomorrow because you would find something else to do if you had to change or go back to careers. I hear you're an excellent basketball broadcaster.
I still get to do that. So,
but it is when it's your job and it's been your job for so many years. It's somebody's trying to take that from you. It is a different it's a different vibe.
It's
right?
personal, yeah. No, it's personal, and you try not for it to be personal, but hey, I won a close election, 27 votes 4 years ago, and I won one by 300 and something votes this time around. So I'm doing a little better, but there's still a huge segment of the town that kind of thinks someone else should be doing the job. So
it's funny. It's funny that you phrase it that way. It's
Yeah.
like that is a narrative in your head sometimes.
Yeah, because honestly, I look at what we've accomplished the last 4 years. I'm like, oh my goodness, I say this all the time, but I'd put my 4 years up against really any mayor that's ever held the job. Maybe Byron Matthews. That's a tough one to hold, your stats up to, I guess, per se. But I think we did a lot of good. So the fact that I did all that good and still am fighting for your job, kind of just. I think it speaks more to like the climate we're living in right now, and there's some real challenges out there for people, and we have to keep really working hard for everybody.
I ask a lot of people that are running for mayor, whether it be the first time or re-election. Do you ever have that moment, and I'm sure you have, where you're trying to maybe you go into an environment where you think the votes here are not for me, and let's see, talk to these people, let's just see why, or see if I can convince them otherwise. Do you ever have that moment where somebody just straight up says to you, "You are not getting my vote," and that has to be kind of an awkward exchange?
Sure. Honestly, it happens all the time. I go into events all the time where I know, this isn't really like a Mayor Reardon crowd.
Not feeling the love.
Not feeling the love here. So, but like when you get elected office, whether you're elected by 1 vote or 300 votes or 3,000 votes, you're mayor of everybody that lives in Newburyport. So I kind of have that mindset, and which is why I do things like, Mayor's Corners and open office hours to make sure people have the right information and people can come, see me and talk to me about what they're struggling with. If they didn't like a decision I made, at least hopefully I can let them know why I did it. And you still might not like it, but at least you know where I'm coming from. I think there was a lot of issues in this election that was probably the case. But yeah, no, it's just, you continue to. I'm sure there's a lot of people that didn't vote for me 4 years ago that voted for me this time around, which I think is great, and there are some people who might never vote for me, They can't let it go, and no matter what I do, they're not going to think I'm the right guy for the job. So that just goes with politics, and it's one of those things I don't like about politics, but at the same time, it's what I signed up for, and like I said, you go through a tough campaign, and it's rewarding that, even though it was only 300 something votes, that I get to still do this for the next 4 years, and hopefully I can maybe change some of those people, 4 years from now.
Always trying to win over those people you don't have, right?
Well, it's the job that I knew when I walked in that you are not going to make everybody happy, and no matter what decision you make, 49% of it might not like it each and every time, and that's a lot of decisions I have to make each day, knowing that you're going to upset somebody. So it's definitely not a job that you're not going to make everybody happy, but you just try to take the right information, make the right decisions, and help move Newburyport forward.
Well, you're always good about coming on here, too, and explaining why you did whatever you did. We appreciate that. Mayor Sean Reardon here of Newburyport in the house. You, one of the first things you did, I noticed, was you took right off to go watch our Patriots get a win. A little getaway after a tough campaign, right? Yeah.
It was pretty awesome. So I got to go. So this is just a little side note. So my dad actually won a trip.
Oh.
All right. So it was a trip to the Tampa Bay game down in Tampa to watch the Pats. It came with flights and a hotel. And my dad had just gone on a big trip to Ireland, which he loved. Him and some family got to go to Ireland. That was his second or third time there. But the trip kind of took a lot out of him, too. So he kind of thought, maybe I need a break from traveling. So when he found out he won, we knew it was going to be right after the election. And at that time, I would say 3 months ago, I was pretty on the fence about how I felt about the campaign. I didn't feel bad, but I didn't feel great. I knew I had a lot of work to do. But we thought either way. So 4 years ago, either way, we all went away right after the election. And we set that up. We went to Sarasota, Siesta Key in Sarasota, and we knew, hey, win or lose, the 5 of us are getting away. And it was just really one of the best trips we ever had. So knowing that we had something to look forward to, and again, it was only me and my son Ollie that got to go, but it was still awesome. So we ended up going down to Tampa. We actually took a day Friday, went over to Disney World. We went to Hollywood Studios. I'm a big Star Wars fan, as some of you might know, so I got to go to see all the Star Wars stuff at Hollywood Studios, and then we had a nice day in Tampa, and then we went to the game on Sunday. So yeah, it was pretty awesome, and to see them win, and God, the place was just packed with Pats fans. It was really just.
What was it? I was hearing some big numbers.
It was wild.
Was
it was
like
wild.
Majority Pats fans?
I mean, I would say going to the game, absolutely, you thought that Pats fans outnumbered everybody else. And it was funny for me. I ran into maybe 20 plus people from Newburyport.
Really?
Like so much so, someone had reached out to me, and it was a guy I went to high school with who's a captain in the Coast Guard, but he lives down in Virginia Beach, and I hadn't seen him in a number of years. But his wife saw that I was going. He's like, hey, Jeff's going to be there with his son. I'm like, oh, great. So he texted me when we got to the stadium, and we literally met like in the end zone, and like we decided to get a drink, and we're just hanging out, catching up. And by the time we had done that, 3 or 4 people had stopped and asked to get a picture with me. It's like, I can get a picture with the mayor. And then we sat in our seats, and literally it was someone that lives on Plum Island that I just knocked on their door like 6 days before.
Wow.
Was right literally in the row behind us. So that was kind of cool. So we saw a lot of people from the report. But again, it was just Pats everywhere. It was funny, like, because I'm a big sports fan and I follow sports radio and whatnot. But like, you could definitely feel it there. Even when the Pats ran out, like, I mean, I heard people say you could hear it on TV too, but like the place like erupted. I mean, and then Buccaneers have a good team. It's not like you're at like some, other stadium, but it was pretty awesome.
Yeah. How is that stadium?
It's nice. Yeah, that was nice. Yeah. Not a ton around there. You're kind of like in a neighborhood outside of Tampa, but really nice. They had a lot of like fun stuff to do. My son liked it, so it was great.
Yeah, I did Miami, which is that's a brand new.
Yep.
Or fairly new, right?
Fairly new. Yeah.
They did pretty good with that. Its sight lines are really good there. I actually went to see the Miami Open there, tennis as well.
Oh wow,
which is a
cool.
whole. They put a bunch of tennis courts in that big stadium, and that's kind of a cool take too. But a little more probably. Even in Miami, it's not like quite. It's not right in the city.
Right.
A lot of those football stadiums. I mean, Foxborough's not even. Foxborough's not Boston, right?
Yeah. But it was easy. We were downtown Tampa. It took like 15 minutes to get there. It was a little tough getting home, but like it was pretty cool. And we had like people staying in our hotel from Newburyport too, which is funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Probably not going to happen at Ohio State. Everybody knows you're a big Buckeye.
Yep.
And we have one tune-up. I shouldn't even call it that. You got Rutgers before Michigan.
We got Rutgers on Saturday, and then we've got the big game against the team from up north.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that too.
Is that true? You guys just don't say the name?
Yeah, we try not to. My kids say Michigan.
Do they really?
Yeah.
The team from up north.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll
team
go with
from
that
up
for
north,
now.
Michigan.
Yeah. How big? Can you explain this to me? Like, you guys win the national championship last year, Ohio State. It did. I mean, obviously you love jobs and coach stays, great season. You win the national championship. It's not a completely fulfilled season, right? Because you lost to Michigan.
Yeah, I'm curious, and maybe I'll feel this a little bit more when I go back out. But I wonder if that narrative has changed a little bit.
Yeah.
Being a transplant, going out to Ohio State. It's a little different for me. Like, I didn't grow up kind of like with the Boston Red Sox and Yankees kind of hatred and like intensity to that rivalry.
It's
so I didn't grow up
when
with
you're
a
kid.
Yeah,
and
when you've grown up and you've been taught that your whole life.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I just know how that felt, going through 2003 and 2004.
Yeah.
And the Red Sox finally doing it. But then going there, you of course, adopt it so quickly. Those schools are just, again, 64,000 people go to Ohio State. I mean, I guess more than that now, but one of the top 2 enrollment-wise, schools in the country, but everything they do just exudes like school pride and culture, and you feed into it, and you drink the Kool-Aid really quickly there. But now the way the college football is set up, again, to have that magical run last year, even though you did lose to your rival in a pretty bittersweet game at home, I don't know if that's changed it at all. Because even this year, if things don't go their way, they're still going to go to the the playoffs. So it's just a different dynamic. But I mean, like, I do love that at least the coaches prioritize what that game means. They kind of base everything around it.
Yeah.
We had a run of like 9 in a row, and now like we've lost 4 in a row, I think, or something like that, 4 or 5 in a row. So I mean, it definitely ebbs and flows. At least when I was there, it was pretty much a Michigan-dominated time. We won a couple, but we lost a few when I was there too. But I don't know. It'll be fun to be back in it.
There was so last year's game was Michigan wins at Ohio State.
Yeah.
I heard there was a video that they showed like of Michigan walking out from like the dressing room. I think there's a long road or ramp that kind of takes the players into the stadium, and like before they enter the stadium, and I had never like seen it like that, from that angle, and it was almost like gladiators like going into it was like you could feel the
100,000 plus. That's why it's so different than pro sports. Like even at your biggest pro stadium, you're only talking like close to like 80,000, and then you've got another 25 plus, at some of these bigger college stadiums. But yeah, no, it's a pretty awesome atmosphere. I love that I get to take my son now. My girls haven't been. I was actually going to try to take one of my girls this time, but they still got school and sports going on a little bit. So it'll just be me and Ollie, but we're looking forward to it.
How's that going, Dad? Life going good with the kids in school?
Kids are great. Yeah, like I said, this whole campaign thing I think was tough on everybody. I think they're a little older this time around too, and because it was a contentious campaign, they feel it.
What'd you say about my dad?
Yeah, no, there's a lot of that for sure. And I do think I'm lucky, like in school wise and like friend group wise, that hasn't been a problem with it. Maybe 4 years ago we saw that a little bit. My oldest was in 8th grade 4 years ago. Now she's a senior. But yeah, none of that. And a lot of my kids' friends worked on the campaign, which was really cool. Yeah. It's awesome that I get to. I like to do everything with the school. So I try to any opportunity I have to work with kids and to work with our schools, I love to do that. So we had a great forum with a lot of different candidates. We got to go talk about different issues, and then a lot of them came to work for the campaign those last couple of weeks. So we always had a crew of high school kids, which was awesome.
You must, when you're a mayor with kids in like the high school. The school is such a big part of a city like Newburyport, pretty much any community, really, right? Yeah. It must make you a better mayor as far as, you're just more connected to that naturally, just because, you have kids there. It's kind of an advantage, right?
I think so. I can't comment for mayors who came before me, but for me, like, that's 60% of your budget is our schools. And so the fact that I, worked for our schools. That was the first job out of college at Ohio State. I came back and worked at the middle school. I was an inclusion specialist. Went over in Triton, worked for a year, worked another year in the elementary school here in Newburyport. So to have that kind of classroom background, and then to be on the school committee for 5 years before I became mayor, and then now being mayor, it's 60% of of our budget. And it's such a large part of everything that we do. And to have 3 kids still in it, I've got a senior, a sophomore, and a 8th grader. It's nice to be dialed into everything that's going on there. Again, I like to be dialed into everything, but I'm going to guess if it was a mayor who didn't have kids in the schools, then you're not as easily tuned into all those things that are going on there.
So let's keep it there. You got a winner for the Thanksgiving game. Here we go. 1 week away.
So 1 week away, I'm already starting to work on my hype speech for Color Day.
Is that what you do? You go.
So I go to. I've been doing Color Day the last 4 years, and I usually get them pretty riled up. It's right up my alley. First of all, I think a couple years ago. So I also do bets with the mayor of Amesbury. So last year I had to march in their tree lighting parade downtown, dressed head to toe in Amesbury gear. And I also carried a sign with the score in it. And last year we were winning the whole game and then lost on the last drive, onside kick, and then they came down to beat us at Newburyport. So that was tough. 2 years ago was great. They were on their way to the Super Bowl, Amesbury, and had this game in between. And we beat them there. It was a pretty big upset, which was great because I was going to have to chaperone the Super Bowl bus from Amesbury to Foxborough. So I was glad to get out of that. So I don't know. So actually, the mayor of Amesbury just texted me today. So we'll probably come up with something similar. But I know Amesbury's got a really good team this year. I think Newburyport has had a tough year, but they've had a great finish. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm gonna have to come up with something big though. 2 years ago, I did the speech from Miracle, and I,
Herb Brooks
speech on stage. Took a couple days to memorize it, and went up there and did the whole thing. And then I don't know, it might have worked because we won. So
you just replace Amesbury with the Soviets? Is that how?
Pretty much. I did do a whole lot of editing. I did have to make it a little bit more PG for high school, but most of the kids caught on to what I was doing right away. So. No, it was good. So I'll come up with something. But I'd love to see, Amesbury maybe looking ahead to the Super Bowl again. They've got another. I think they've got their semifinal matchup this week. I think that they're playing Clinton or something. I don't know. I remember reading that in the paper, but I don't know. Maybe they'll be looking ahead to their Super Bowl game, and we'll catch them off guard.
All right. Lastly, you go to the game every year, right?
I do. Yep.
So and then it's what family? You stay.
So we go. Yeah. Nope. So we go to Beverly. Okay. My sister-in-law has a beautiful house in Beverly, so we've been going there just about every year. My family goes here, there, and everywhere. My side of the family, but no, it's great. Get to see a lot of family we don't get to see for a while, and. We'll go to the game. Hopefully the kids will want to go with me. And
perfect.
Yeah, like I said, after this, all those things are a little bit more. After going through this election, I think all those things are a little bit more enjoyable to attend. And I'm looking forward to it.
And eat up. I probably ask you every year, but what's the go-to mayor plate for a Thanksgiving meal?
Oh, we talked about this last year.
Yeah, I think
I'm not a huge Thanksgiving food guy.
That's right.
I'm just not a big. But I like it all.
I remember this.
I think I said my
that comment at least cost you 3 votes.
You're probably right. Some people get it. Like I said, I'm more like excited about seeing family and the downtime piece of it. But my family makes these pecan rolls.
Okay.
They are just awesome, and so my wife started to make those for me many years ago, and so they're delicious. So that's my biggest thing probably, and some good desserts. But like turkey and gravy, I'll have it all. But it's okay.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
It's just a lot. It's just a lot.
Yeah, football all day.
Football all day, which is
nice.
great. Yep.
That's a lovely thing. Happy holidays, Mayor. Congratulations again on the re-election. It's great to see you. It'll be great to have you on the studio here for years to come.
That's right. Thank you, Drew.
Great to see you. Live at Drew's house. Thank you, everybody. Maeve Power, Sarah Hayden, the boss. We appreciate you. We appreciate you. Thanksgiving a week from today. There you go. Happy holidays.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
All right. Peace. See you, everybody.